They started at this yoinking, man.
I think it's in my history of quick videos. Unless it's not in my history because it got linked to me, you know? Found it.
Jimmy, you feel like the judge was fair today? Why'd you steal the money, Jimmy? A spectacular crime.
Who the fuck asks, why did you steal the money? To make money? What the fuck kind of question is that? What kind of interview is that? Why did you steal the money? Because I wanted it. What the fuck?
Jimmy, how do you feel after this today? Jimmy, you feel like the judge was fair today? Why'd you steal the money, Jimmy?
There's no Jimmy.
A spectacular crimes.
This is going to be a huge case, and there's a lot more money that we don't know about.
In a small town. Shot. Martinelli starts her investigation at the scene of the crime.
So we were able to see that somebody had gotten in a window and they had actually broke in.
Zhang said the thief took $400,000 worth of cash and 150 bitcoins, then worth almost $600,000, were stashed behind his chimney.
It was well hidden, and he kept saying over and over that there was only a few friends and a few people that knew he kept cash there.
Why the fuck would anybody know it's there?
Most of them, yes.
Yo, why would anybody know it's there?
We went into the bar locations. I think we went to some of the houses. I spent a lot of time with Jimmy, went through his house, did some social media investigations, did background checks.
But one question sticks in her mind.
What are you doing with that much cash? And I asked over and over, and he said he had invested it. It made no sense. And I tell just about everybody, before you hire me, I'm married to a cop, my girls are cops.
The private eye scours the tapes from Zhang's elaborate home video surveillance systems.
We were able to see that we thought it was a male, kind of thin, and the person knew exactly where to go. Like, was kind of dodging where the camera might be.
So you thought this might be a person who's been here before?
Correct, yes.
So
yes,
maybe it's a friend of Jimmy's, someone who's worked for him.
To Martinelli, it seems Zhang doesn't have many true friends, other than his dog, Chad.
So who were his friends? Who was he hanging out with?
I remember a female, a couple of males, just about his age that were just ne'er-do-wells. Very casual, plastic, not really caring. Maybe using Jimmy a little bit. Maybe
they were using him?
I don't know if they really cared about Jimmy.
Oh, jeez.
Did he know that?
I don't think he knew that or wanted to know that. Jimmy wanted to be loved, or Jimmy wanted friends. Jimmy was a good guy.
Go back a few years, and a lot of people in Athens think Zhang is a good guy. He's throwing a lot of money around. In addition to his bungalow in Athens, he buys himself a home on nearby Lake Lanier. He buys a boat and jet skis and expensive cars.
He was a few years older than us, and he just loved to party.
Stefana Masic goes to a lot of those parties. She met Zhang while she was a student at the University of Georgia.
He would buy me and my friends drinks, and then there were multiple times too where he would buy shots for everyone at the bars.
He would buy shots for every single person in the bar?
Yeah.
I mean, like 100 people?
Yeah, pretty much. I remember he lent me the money that I needed.
Yo, he kind of like me. Hold up.
There was never that expectation that I had to pay it back. When he was a friend to you, he was a very generous friend. I would say I came to really enjoy having Jimmy as a friend in my life.
In 2018, when Zhang's beloved Georgia Bulldogs make it to the Rose Bowl, he gathers up his party friends, rents a private jet, and takes the whole gang to Los Angeles.
We all flew private, and Jimmy rented a really nice Airbnb, and he got everyone really nice tickets to the game also. He ended up giving everyone a budget, and that was very unexpected.
Okay, wait, whoa.
Just having a friend giving all his friends that came with him on the trip money to just purchase items on Rodeo Drive. So it was kind of like, am I...
Okay, I think that's one of the only things that like somebody who yoinked money does. Am I wrong? Chat, is this somebody who stole money or what? Did he yoink the money? Because I didn't get to watch it.
I dreaming, you know, like it was a very crazy moment.
I was told it was $10,000 each. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. It was a number like that.
So what did everybody buy?
Everyone went to the Cartier store first, and then just bought a lot of purses, belts, jewelry, coats, stuff like that. It was pretty wild.
The title, but you don't know who they're talking about yet.
More than a year after the Rodeo Drive shopping spree, Athens police are trying to find out who stole hundreds of thousands of dollars from Zong's house. Lieutenant Jody Thompson of the Athens-Clarke County Police Department leads the local property and financial crimes unit. He says Zong has an elaborate security system, cameras bristling at the door and on the roof of his home. And whenever there's a crime, Zong is happy to share video evidence with Athens PD.
So we would have break-ins, we would have DUIs, you would have accidents.
And Jimmy was always there to help you guys out.
Always, always.
But Zong also has a criminal history of his own, including a DUI and a bizarre incident a few years earlier.
So Jimmy was in a restaurant talking to some girls, and he happens to mention that he has $30,000 worth of blow at his house if they want to come back and party.
What?
$30,000 worth of coke.
$30,000 of cocaine.
That sounds stupid to say.
Unfortunately for Jimmy, there was an off-duty police officer sitting in the restaurant one table over.
That's just bad timing.
It was really bad timing. So with a quick phone call, there was other officers who arrived, and he was arrested. They actually found some drugs on him, and he got a couple felony charges from that.
So he's drunk and disorderly. He's busted for coke possession.
Damn.
He's dragging the girls in bars. I mean, the guy sounds like his life was a little bit out of control.
I think it was.
Wait, that means that he didn't have the coke at his house. So. That's kind of crazy.
I think Jimmy was always looking for more. He was looking for a friend. I think a lot of people took advantage of that, and I feel bad for him on that because he was so naive.
Zong says he spent a significant portion of his wealth partying.
Jimmy, admittedly, I've spoken to him a few times since, probably spent about $500,000 just in partying downtown.
$500,000 in bar tabs?
That's what he estimated, yes.
Wow.
He said he spent a lot of money having a good time.
He's living this party monster lifestyle and with no visible means of support.
Right. And he said he just invested in Bitcoin and made his money. And, you know.
And you had no reason to doubt that.
No reason to doubt it.
But that changes when the police investigator gets a call from agents at the IRS.
Okay, he's done for, man.
Across the country, a crack team of IRS criminal investigators specializing in cryptocurrency has spent years tracking the 2012 hack of a criminal dark web marketplace called the Silk Road. Someone stole 50,000 bitcoins from the drug dealers, gun runners, and pornographers who used that site. As the price of the bitcoins explodes over the next years, the value of that astonishing heist climbs to more than $3 billion.
They asked me about the Bitcoin.
Bro, that's actually kind of crazy. I gotta be honest, that's kind of crazy that he kind of got away with it. Because if the police caught him, it means that the guys who got stolen from didn't catch him. Which is, in my opinion, more impressive than the fucking cops getting to him.
Climbs to more than $3 billion.
They asked me about the Bitcoin and how much was in there, and if he talked about where he got it from or anything like that, and I really didn't have the answers for him. But I told him, let me email him, and I'm sure Jimmy will meet with us.
Zong quickly agrees to meet the agents, and when they arrive at his lakefront home, Thompson's body camera is rolling.
Hey, Jimmy. How are you? Hey, you remember me?
The agents go inside Zong's bizarre world and learn more about who they're dealing with.
I mean, I've always been on the computer.
Now he just gets exposed for everyone to see on YouTube.
In Athens, Georgia, someone has stolen hundreds of thousands of dollars in cryptocurrency from local party boy Jimmy Zong. But investigators who looked into that crime get a call out of the blue from armed federal agents of the IRS.
Typically when we deal with larger enforcement agencies, we don't ask a lot of questions about their investigation.
Thompson suddenly finds himself going to Zong's home with two highly skilled cryptocurrency investigators. A federal agent and a contractor working for the U.S. government.
Hey, Jimmy.
My name is Trevor McLean. I'm a special agent with IRS Criminal Investigation.
My name is Sean Magruder. I am the founder and CEO of BlockTrace.
Wait.
BlockTrace is a company that investigates cryptocurrencies on the blockchain. The IRS hired Magruder for his experience untangling.
Well, the guy yoinked money and then he got yoinked. Why didn't he just cash in the profit and just move on? Why did he didn't entertain these investigators?
Big man. XQC LK.
What's up, man? I'm confused.
complicated transactions. He's been looking into a massive heist from a dark website called the Silk Road for years.
Well, Silk Road is a very unique marketplace, right? Where users could deposit Bitcoins on this exchanger, so to speak, and where they could then purchase goods, services, cocaine, weapons,
All the bad guy stuff.
all the bad guy stuff, right?
And people thought this was a private transaction and they could just get away with it.
They thought that. So the beautiful thing about the blockchain is that all transactions are preserved going back to 2009 when Bitcoin was first launched.
So all those criminals were just dead wrong. It wasn't private.
Bro, Shane announces these guys, yeah, bro, they worked on my shit and got me fucked up. Brother?
Self-report?
It wasn't private, right? It wasn't private at all.
What?
In 2012,
Brother?
somebody steals 50,000 Bitcoins from that criminal exchange, and federal agents begin to try to figure out who done it. A lead in the case doesn't come until 6 years
Trevor?
later, when Magruder finds a clue that points to Zong.
One of the special agents who I worked with on the team calls me and says, "Hey, Sean, you know,
Young man.
can you help out, assist with this? If you could just take a look at it, you know, over the course of the weekend, that'd be great." And this was on a Friday. By Monday, I came back with an answer and said, "Hey, I think we might have something here." And so we noticed some activity that was standing out to us.
What was it?
What was it? Great question. It's a good question.
Are you allowed to say?
That is a sort of sensitive law enforcement technique.
You can't talk about it publicly.
Not that specific technique.
But you realize that there were some clues here that you would be able to follow.
A technique.
Right, absolutely.
And then Zong makes a big mistake with a relatively small amount of money. Zong transfers around $800 worth of Bitcoin to an exchange that has a policy called Know Your Customer, which is referred to as KYC.
Oh,
the
no.
policy requires anyone who sends or buys cryptocurrency from the exchange to provide their name and
Young
identifying
man.
information.
So after issuing a subpoena to that KYC exchange, we had a positive ID on Jimmy.
Because of the subpoena, the exchange has to tell you the name of the person.
That's correct.
Did he use his real name?
He did.
Group, if we don't know.
Investigators followed.
Yeah, chat, guys, why didn't he just tornado why didn't he just tornado that bitch? I'm confused. At the time, I think they had tornado cash or whatever. He could have just fucking laundered that bitch.
That trail of clues
I'm
right to
confused.
Zong's home. The three men come up with a plan to go see Zong,
Maybe?
telling him they're there to investigate the crime against him, never mentioning they're also there to investigate something else, a much bigger crime. And this never-before-seen police body cam video shows the moment in real time. Zong, without hesitation, lets the investigators right in.
Hey, this is Trevor and Sean.
Oh no, this guy is
We went to the
dented.
door under the premise that these two guys, Sean and Trevor, were going to be assisting
Trevor?
me with the investigation and recovering his Bitcoin that was stolen.
Yeah, these guys are gonna kind of help me out a little bit because we've been getting more of the cases, kind of like what you have.
Sean.
And
You know, watching that tape, it's almost like he was just desperate for someone to talk to.
I think that might be
Dog on
another
the
side of
Ryan
Jimmy that no one
lawnmower.
really knew about too, is the loneliness of being that wealthy and not having anybody to share it with.
And you guys walk in the door and start talking
Ooh,
to him.
bottom left.
And here he opens up.
He did.
you guys get this solved. I'm gonna invite y'all up for a beer whenever y'all want. All right.
I kept, again, complimenting his house,
This is so beautiful.
What's he eating?
talk about
What?
his dog,
Beautiful dog.
anything we could do to keep
No.
him talking. And as he become more and more comfortable, eventually I asked Jimmy, show us around. Let's see the whole house.
Yeah, see, you can see the baby lake server.
There's an L-shaped couch. There's slider doors to the right, and there's a TV on the wall. There's what appears to be a firearm of some sort over the slider door, which we would later learn was a flamethrower.
You got a flamethrower in the house?
We did have a flamethrower.
Are you doing your own floor? Huh? Are you doing tile work? That's leftover from. This is the concrete tile?
You do this job for a while and you notice things in homes and you think, I could hide something there.
So were you looking for secret compartments as you went around the house?
Yes, it's just kind of the part of the process.
Yeah, come up to the office.
We went upstairs, and on my way to the room, all three of us, with the Athens PD and IRSCI, we saw the AR-15 on the wall.
You got the AR-15 against the wall? Yeah, it looks beautiful, man.
When you see the AR-15 in the house, do you feel like this guy could be dangerous?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, if you see an AR-15 with a magazine in it hanging on the wall, not in any way, shape, or form locked or bolted and ready to go, I mean, that poses a security threat.
Armed or not, they have to get Zong talking.
Okay, so, I
Is
guess
he
kind of
vaping?
a personal question is, how did you acquire the money? What? I don't even know what you do, Jimmy.
If owning a gun, okay. Wait, hold on. Owning a gun makes you think somebody is like a armed, dangerous, whatever the fuck. You know, why even allow them to have these guns? I feel like it goes hand in hand. No?
I mean, these days I'm in real estate development.
Like
Zong shows the investigators a suitcase he used
at
to
home
store
and you're allowed to have
$1
something.
million in cash.
Yeah, it's the exact case. Is that a Zero Halliburton or is that a
That's just some random Amazon case.
Okay.
You know, I was trying to get this girl back then. So I was like,
You're pressing up
let's try to pull out 1 million cash and have it as this aluminum briefcase. And just like, you know, I was trying to press her back then.
Did it work?
Nope.
That never does. Never does.
We eventually went downstairs, saw they had like a party pad built with a stripper pole in the middle and a full bar.
Bruh.
Nope, that's for the girls. Okay.
You don't see that too often.
You don't see that very often at all. But in behind that bar was a whole nother room of computer servers that he had built out.
So I ran Cat 6 everywhere.
Well, that was a good opportunity.
That's awesome. And fiber. That's amazing.
Wow.
Next, they ask Zong about
why
his
must be
history
tidy?
with Bitcoin, and Zong reveals his involvement with crypto goes all the way back to 2009, which is the same year Bitcoin was first launched.
When did you first dive in?
Huh?
When did you first?
Probably like 2009 or?
Investigators begin to see Zong's level of sophistication.
This is like so foreign to me.
Dedicated Bitcoin mining chips.
Now it's just self-reporting everything.
Oh, I was thinking chips. I wasn't thinking.
Oh, I mean, the individual chips have to be assembled into something.
They continue to probe, getting Zong to explain his security system.
It's like 30 seconds, regular sirens goes off.
So did you do that?
40 seconds, that goes off.
Wow.
And that will make your head pound.
But the most important thing is, they have to get Zong to open his laptop.
Oh, yeah.
Sniffer?
You guys look away because this is going to be my password.
Okay.
I'm just watching. It's like you're typing a sentence over there.
Oh, wait, that's why.
So is this like the equivalent of your hot wallet, where you say you have
Yeah,
1,500?
this
This
is
is your play money.
This is the hot wallet, and then the cold wallet is, I'm not going to tell you where it is.
Yo, he's got the whole RGB on his keyboard, man.
If that leaks around the department or something, I don't.
Investigators see the evidence they need
For
when he opens
free?
the laptop, a wallet filled with an enormous number of Bitcoins. So in the day of the video that we see, you walk out of the house, the three of you are leaving, and you see you go out to the driveway. What are you thinking the moment you walk out that door?
This is incredible. I think we found our guy.
Jimmy, pleasure to meet you, man.
No problem.
After the house tour, the federal agents decide they have enough. Evidence ties Zong to the 2012 Silk Road hack. It's all about to come crashing down for Zong. And it's all
GG.
because he called 911 to report that someone had stolen some of his stolen loot. If he hadn't done that, would he still be living large in private jets?
For
I
sure.
believe he would.
He's sitting on what would be $3 billion worth of stolen assets, and he calls the cops to report a theft of just a fraction of that. Who does that?
Jimmy.
As they dig into Zong's story,
Jesus.
agents
Wait, brother had $3 billion? Okay, hold up. Hold up.
begin to suspect that Zong's skills are proof that he's more than just a typical hacker.
You don't have to answer it. Like, how OG are you?
I don't have vast majority of them anymore, but at mine, at least 300,000. Wow.
You know what, chat? I'm gonna say it. Chat, for somebody who had access to $3 billion, you know what? He lived pretty boring. Guys, even if he's like partying and giving all his money, his friends money or whatever, bro, at $3 billion, that's not enough, brother. He should have had the whole fucking street full of Lambos parked illegally. He should have just blocked the whole road full of supercars. Just because why the fuck not, dude? 3 billion, you know how much that is? That's insane.
Mall, downtown drinking in Athens.
Over the years, the Bitcoin stolen from the Silk Road dark website in 2012 has skyrocketed in value to $3.36 billion. Investigators hunting for the hacker use a ruse to get into Jimmy Zong's home and get him to open his laptop.
Yeah.
But you don't even have just like one Bitcoin later?
Oh, I mean, 1,500 on that laptop alone.
Oh, serious?
When you're sitting next to him on the couch, he opens his laptop. What do you see on that screen?
Lo and behold, he had 60 or 70 million dollars worth of Bitcoins right there next to us.
So with one glance at the screen on his laptop, you could instantly tell this is a guy who's a credible suspect. He could have pulled this off.
That's right.
No cameras are rolling the day investigators return to Zong's house to execute a search warrant for the 50,000 stolen Bitcoins. But it's a huge law enforcement operation. And one thing is critical for the mission's success. They have to get inside Zong's laptop.
Yeah, it has to be open at
When
the
I
time.
did the search warrant briefings with all the agents out of the Atlanta field office, it's a hard sell to say, hey, we're gonna hit someone's house tomorrow, multiple locations. Oh, by the way, you may or may not be familiar with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, but there's a chance that this person sits on somewhere around 3 billion in cryptocurrency, 50,000 Bitcoin. And you kind of get this look of like, is this guy from another planet?
We met at a parking lot where I saw a lot of law enforcement, and I was like, oh, okay, I see what we're doing now. We're going to be doing a search warrant today.
After we had that rehearsal of how the search warrant would go, me, the original Athens PD detective, and 2 special agents visit Jimmy.
They tell Zong that in order to help with his stolen Bitcoin case, they needed to verify information on his computer.
So
oh
you go
no.
in, and it's still under the pretext
He
that you're there to
fell
help.
for it.
That's right.
I brought Chad a dog toy to play with to keep him pacified, make sure that he was out of the harm's way. And we entered Jimmy's house.
McLeenan is about to finally tell Zong the truth. Investigators are not there to help solve the crime against him. They're there to search his house for evidence of the $3 billion heist.
We started doing our thing and walking through the transactions, you know, getting him to open up his computer.
So you have to have that computer open, unlocked, passwords.
And he has the yoink, don't know?
And then Jimmy physically away from it, so you can grab it before it locks itself.
That was the goal. And I started to draw Jimmy's attention away from his laptop. I asked him if we could take a look on his back balcony over the lake.
So he asks Zong.
Bro, you know this guy should have had, dude? This necklace or whatever with a rope on it that like has this little key that it goes into the computer and he just pulls backwards, it pulls out, and the computer fucking shuts down.
To step across the room and help open the sticky sliding glass door.
Jimmy got up, started walking to the slider glass. My co-case stuck what's called a jiggler in the computer, which causes the
That'd be the way to do it, no?
around the screen so that it doesn't lock. We stepped outside. My co-case came outside on the patio with us. And just like in movie circumstances, you know, Jimmy's sitting on the back porch. We're like, oh, this is an amazing view. And Jimmy's looking at me and I said, Jimmy, you know me as Trevor. I'm actually Trevor McLean, a specialist
Trevor?
for
Yeah, like treadmills.
investigation. And we're here to execute a federal approved warrant on your house. And he kind of had this look like, am I being punked?
Right.
It's at that point where literally in movie time, the search warrant team hit the house, knocked, pounding on the door, police with a warrant, flooded the house, and you could see the panic start to ensue in his mind.
So that's the first moment where it flipped for him.
Yeah.
And you were able to take advantage of that 1 minute where he was away from the computer to grab it and keep it open.
Yeah.
Officers swarmed through the house looking for evidence. Zong's neighbor, Walt Frazier, was there the day it happened.
Wait, what is that?
Swarmed through the house looking for...
Are those physical Bitcoins? Bro, the physical Bitcoins? What is that? But why though?
For evidence. Zong's neighbor, Walt Frazier, was there the day it happened.
I didn't know what to think. I mean, I'd never seen that many police anywhere in my walk of life, and then they're all in my front yard, and I went, holy cow.
Upstairs in the bathroom closet, off to the side of the roof.
Yeah, they're cold. Yeah, I get it.
And in that popcorn tin were some towels. which starts to draw your interest as to why you would possess a popcorn tin with towels in it. So then one of the searchers started pulling apart the different towels and found the single board computer. Later, we were able to discern with Jimmy's assistance that possessed a ton of the Bitcoin.
Millions of dollars.
Millions of dollars.
Using a dog specifically trained to sniff for computer hardware, they find a safe buried in concrete underneath some basement flooring tile.
Classic.
Bitcoin. We had found a wallet that had the addresses previously that were associated with the 50,000.
They also find physical Bitcoins that were minted in cryptocurrency's early years, precious metals, and old-fashioned paper currency.
November 9, really late at night, we were able to say we were successful. We found the evidence that we were looking for, and the house lit up. I mean, every agent on site cheered.
After the cheering dies down, investigators also realized that Zong was more than an ordinary criminal hacker. The IRS concluded that Zong was what's known as a Bitcoin OG, slang for original gangster, one of the early developers who drove the rise of cryptocurrency.
So he contributed to the code. He would constantly offer suggestions on how to improve it.
But Zong said it wasn't his coding skills that allowed him to steal the Bitcoin from the Silk Road. In his plea statement, Zong said he stumbled across the flaw accidentally. In his statement, Jimmy says that the way he stole these Bitcoin was he was withdrawing some assets from Silk Road. He had been using it to purchase cocaine, and he realized if he simply double-clicked, he could withdraw more than he had put in. Is that what happened?
To the instance that he would just double-click the withdraw button, we don't know the answer to that question.
I mean, that seems awfully simple.
Yeah. But what gets a little bit more complicated is what we were able to discern with monikers that Jimmy had used.
What?
That he knew exactly how much was in the hot wallet of the Silk Road in September of 2012. So in that instance, he knew when he stole 50,000 Bitcoin from the Silk Road.
On paper, even though this could be real, that means that on their back end was completely fucked on. And there's probably a billion systems in place for it not to do that. Like, dude, there must be a bunch of systems in place for the computer it must be validated multiple times and shit. It's not like oh, okay, it double click, it sent the data too fast and the computer sent it twice. Like, no shot it was like that.
Road. He knew exactly what the max was that he could get away
Maybe
with.
Though, maybe. I'll entertain it. Yeah. Maybe.
Zong says his skills also impressed somebody else. Ross Ulbrecht, the man who created the Silk Road site that Zong attacked. Online, Ulbrecht went by the moniker Dread Pirate Roberts, and according to Zong, Ulbrecht agreed to simply give Zong the Bitcoins he stole, plus 5,000 more, as a reward. Jimmy and the Dread Pirate Roberts were in contact with each other, right?
That's like Jimmy alleges it. We couldn't find any evidence to support that position.
Why would the Dread Pirate Roberts pay Jimmy a reward for stealing from the Dread Pirate Roberts? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Because
our understanding was that was in response to helping him fix an error with the Silk Road payment processing system.
So the idea is that Jimmy exposed a flaw and exploited it to steal the money. And then he sort of sold that flaw back to the Dread Pirate Roberts and said, I'll explain to you how I did it if you let me keep the money.
Yep.
Court documents state after the hack, Zong used sophisticated laundering techniques to use stolen Bitcoin for lavish trips and real estate investments.
So he took advantage of Bitcoin mixing services out there.
There you go,
mix,
yeah.
You know, his transactions,
Tornado
other
cash.
people's transactions, and then come out the other end, right? Where they would be clean, so to speak.
In the end, though, Zong didn't get to keep the money. After the U.S. government confiscated the assets, victims had the opportunity to come forward and claim their Bitcoin, but nobody did, which isn't surprising given that the Silk Road was an exchange for criminal activity, and the feds sold off Zong's Bitcoin. Tyler Hatcher is the special agent in charge of the Los Angeles...
There's still victims in this scenario, okay? Guys, listen. If you do a bank robbery, okay, and some guy, okay, and some fucking floor tile fucking breaks and you get fucked on, you're still the victim of whatever just happened, okay? Guys, just because you're a criminal doesn't mean you can't get fucked on.
Angeles field office for IRS criminal investigation. So Jimmy
you're still a victim of that system.
The U.S. government's correct. There's some irony there, right?
There is some irony there, yeah.
When you think about this case, you had a hacker stealing from the Silk Road, and the clients of the Silk Road were just awful people, right? I mean, you had drug dealers, gun runners, all kinds of bad guys on there. The victim here is another set of criminals. So it's hard to have sympathy for anybody involved in that case. How do you approach a case like that?
You know, there's that saying, there's no honor among thieves, right? So when we talk about illicit funds that are out there, the last thing we want is any criminal being able to spend it, right? That's why we have jobs. That's why we look for these opportunities.
Hatcher says some of it will likely go to the local police department in Athens.
The government certainly has not been hurt by Jimmy's conduct whatsoever.
Michael Bachner is Zong's attorney for this case.
Wait, why would Athens get it? I feel like, in a lot of ways, whatever country would purchase a bunch of that shit, right? Where it went the most, that's where the money should go, because that's where like probably the victims of a bunch of fucking like huge pieces of drugs or whatever are probably at. Because if you're importing a fucking drug problem, it's that area that needs it to fucking have the, yeah, bro. If somebody bought ridiculous amounts and shit, and he's reselling it, I mean, now you're making victims of fucking drugs or whatever. So then they should get the money, no?
If Jimmy had not stolen the coins,
how they trace it? You're right.
Had in fact seized them from Ulbrecht, they would have sold them 2 years later in 2014, as they did with other coins, and would have gotten $320 a coin, or made somewhere about $14 million. Now, as a result of Jimmy having them, the government has gotten a $3 billion profit.
Bachner says at the time Zong stole the coins, he did not believe he was committing a federal crime.
Bitcoin back then was very much like the Wild West. The coins had sometimes no value, or such a fluctuating value.
At sentencing, Bachner described the abuse Zong faced from the other kids at school.
He's on the spectrum for autism. He was subject to consistent, unabated abuse, which included randomly being punched in the face for no reason. He would go to school, do very well in school because he was really smart, and then go home, lock himself in his room or go to his room and be on his computer.
Nathaniel Popper is the author of Digital Gold, which chronicles the history of Bitcoin. He says a hacker culture ran through the early Bitcoin community.
You have to see if you can break the system to figure out how it doesn't work.
Yeah, pen testers.
So when the system broke, it was viewed as an opportunity to learn from it, to figure out how can we strengthen this for the future. If we want this to work in the long run, we need to repair the little leaks in it. There's this strange way in the Bitcoin story where everybody who played a significant role is both a villain and a hero at the same time. And that conflict, that tension is there in Silk Road, and I think it's also there in Jimmy's story.
Zong pled guilty to 1 count of wire fraud. No friends or family were present for Zong's sentencing, but he received a half-dozen letters of support from friends, one of whom said, "My heart goes out to Jimmy, because all he wants in this life is to love others and for others to love him." In a tearful statement, Zong said the Bitcoin made him feel important and worth something, and asked for no jail time so he could take care of his closest remaining friend, his dog, Chad.
Chad and Jimmy have an extremely close, loving relationship.
Giga.
Chad is 13 years old now and sick, has feeding tube, and Jimmy spends time and effort.
I mean, bro,
him.
$3 billion
I think
though.
He was stuck. He didn't talk to his family that I knew of, so I don't know of anybody he'd been close to but his dog Chad.
His dog.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, his dog Chad.
I think he just wanted to have a lot of fun and maybe outsmart having a traditional life.
Oh, bruh. Guys. I don't want to go too hard on anybody on this video, but I don't want to go too soft either, motherfucker. Okay, it's still $3 billion fucking dollars, dude. Jesus Christ. Come on now. Like, get a white shot.
On April 14th, the verdict came down. We waited outside the courtroom during Zong's 2-hour sentencing,
Here come.
in which he received a year and a day in prison for his role in the Silk Road hack.
Jimmy, how do you feel after this today? Why'd you steal the money, Jimmy? Did you think you were going to get away with it? Anything else to say, Jimmy?
Damn. I wonder. Bro, imagine the whole scheme is they faked a robbery to prompt the specialized FBI, whatever department of the IRS, to look into how they did it, to see how they fucking track that shit backwards, to find and restrain the system against it. Now we're talking. See? Now we're talking about true pen testing, dude. One fall guy, 1 year in jail, dude, and now they know the fucking... Holy dude. Jesus. That would make for a cooler story.